Welcome to the AskARoofer Podcast, where all your roofing questions find their answers. Your hosts, Megan Ellsworth and Lauren White, peel back the layers of the roofing world to reveal the knowledge, tips, and FAQs you've been curious about. From shingles to skylights, metal to asphalt, we're here to demystify the system above your head. So get ready to ask, learn, and explore the fascinating world of roofing, one question at a time on the AskARoofer Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Lauren White with the AskARoofer Podcast. We're here with Tim Garrison from River City Roofing Co., and we are going to talk about kind of craft and customization and some fun projects that they have been working on. So, Tim, great to have you on here. Why don't you introduce yourselves and tell everybody a little bit about River City Roofing?
Yeah, Tim Garrison, based out of Peoria, Illinois. I started River City Roofing around 2002. Really started focusing on roofing in 2005. So I'd say 20 years of strictly roofing, grown from residential to residential, commercial, industrial, multi-states. You know, we take on complex jobs, but we still do the basic ones. We're still 70% residential. I would say 60-70% of our revenue is residential. The rest is commercial, which we're focused on growing. And, it's great to be here. I'm glad you extended the offer.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk more about this project and overall what you do. But so I understand that recently you installed a roof with an American flag design on it. So can you tell us a little bit about the background of that project and like what inspired you to create a custom rooftop flag design?
Wow. So I saw a project done by who now I know is Scott Rappel, Interstate Roofing out of Denver area, but this was done in Colorado Springs. I guess it was 2015. I think you guys aired a story on. It was the one I saw. And so I've just had it in the back of my mind, that was a really cool project. I thought, it's not that much harder. That's the actual membrane that did the roof. So, as far as really adding. So that sparked me to do some stuff with red TPO on white roofs a few times. One's a local tire company down by the bridge on the river of Peoria, Illinois, called Plaza Tire. It's a barrel roof. We did a TPO membrane on the barrel, and I took 5-foot roll of red TPO to a sign shop, had them cut out Plaza Tire in 5-foot letters. So when you come over the bridge, that thing's probably, I'd have to go to our Facebook page, 12 years or 10 years, I guess, shortly after I saw that. I think I did that after the flag. But anyhow, then I drove by it with one of a very well-known GAF commercial inspector. And I said, yeah, we did that. And he goes, oh, that's coating. And I said, no, that's red TPO. And this is the GAF, technical guy that inspects our flat roofs or the commercial at the time. And I said, no, that's TPO. I just laid letters, red, on top of the white, fully adhered, or fully welded, so it wouldn't get staining coming through it. So anyways, did some projects like that with just some enhancements, that you could see from the ground on certain TPO roofs. And then 2017, I bought an old Kmart building. It's 72,600 square foot of flat roof. And I said, we're budgeting and like any contractor working on it as, in between our own projects. So we kind of did some different, on our roof, we have Rhino Bond, mechanically attached, fully adhered, fleece spec, all kind of like, different sections. So we could kind of showcase clients if they want to walk a commercial roof before they purchase one or trying to make a decision on the types of attachment or application. We've got some pavers up there. We're going to do some live roof as well. But we did a penthouse, little patio, and I saved the last section for an American flag. So it kind of sat there. 17, 18, we did, we kind of were started working on this building because it did have roof leaks. It was built in 84, and saved that last section, which was a perfect section closest to the airport. We're about 5 minutes from the Peoria airport. There's also a National Guard right there that does a lot of flyovers with the big C-130s, and so we'll get some military planes almost weekly over top of it. And I had one skylight that we had put in there, and I said, let's remove that and make sure it's super clean. So there's nothing, on that section. It's our warehouse for our steep slope materials, really, and our trucks and trailers kind of run through, and saved it and made it through COVID trying to get the material. That was tough. We were also trying to work with GAF to do some marketing if they wanted to. We thought about doing that. They were going to come out and do a care training, a video, because the roof at that point, that was the only section left and it was leaking. And ultimately it came together last year, had all the membrane, and we did some cool marketing videos with it and got the flag done right before Veterans Day. So it was pretty cool.
Wow, very cool. I love that so many people can enjoy it, either from the skies or from the roof itself. That's fun.
It is.
Yeah. So, as you kind of touched on some of the challenges that you faced, but what were, specifically some of the biggest design and installation challenges with this project?
So I would say for sure the getting the membrane. So I locked in I think red or blue, I can't recall. So to my knowledge, there might be some others that have these very strong, rich colors now, but I did not think most of them couldn't get that actual navy blue, I think was the problem. And even some of the reds were more maroon. So we looked at a few. I just planned on doing it GAF, so we were trying to work with them. Obviously through COVID, we talked at the Wealth Builder. I think maybe it was in San Diego, and they saw, they weren't running red and blue membrane at the time as everybody was kind of, making their adjustments for COVID. So getting the red and blue material in hand was probably the toughest. The next challenge after that was getting things lined up. If we wanted to do some marketing, or GAF wanted to do some marketing, and make sure that we gave everybody the opportunity, to kind of line up the timeline so everyone could be involved that wanted to be. And then probably the install was laying the stars. And the stars, there's a flag calculator you can find online. It's kind of it helped us tremendously. Having some guys that do some of my stuff with commercial design and blueprinting. We had it laid out a couple of different times. Realized it was going to be about 2 feet, 3 feet shy of the one they did in Colorado Springs. So I said, no, 5 foot rolls, we have to add one foot of membrane for the red stripes. And so we did that so we can make sure we had the biggest one that I know of that's done with TPO.
That's awesome. Very cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so, based on this project, what kind of roofing materials are best for custom designs like the one that you did?
I would say the colored TPO for sure. You can do some stuff with a coating. Right above this roof, we have a 20-foot section of EPDM, just so we 2 divider walls and put EPDM fully adhered. And on that, we are going to do some coating. Now that the weather's breaking, we ordered some 10-foot stencils, so we're just going to put River City Roofing Company with coating on top of EPDM. Okay. So that'd be the first one we're doing, kind of, some type of marketing type of artwork on top of the EPDM. But that's an option. But I really think the colored TPO, is. I haven't done it a complex logo yet, but I would like to, like something, that's completely, I don't know how we have cut stuff out, such as the stars and lettering that we've done on some TPO. Is I take it to a sign company. They have a table that kind of vacuums it down like they would their sign material to cut letters or whatever out of the thin plastic. So it worked on TPO, but their tables are maxed at 5x5. So, you get a 20-foot logo. I think we're gonna have some issues. But we'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah, very cool. I was going to ask if there are any future designs in the works, if now that you've done the American flag, that sparks some interest. Absolutely.
And you don't see much on commercial roofs. I fly a lot. I'm all over, every week, and you don't see them very often, and it's kind of surprising. You need the roof anyways. How much more is it to stand out, put your company name on, especially, near like an O'Hare, or I know there was a guy, I think it was, where's it at, Cleveland or Indianapolis or Indy, somewhere. The guy said he painted on his roof. I read a story if you research it, but he painted right by the airport, "Welcome to Cleveland," and it's not Cleveland. It's like, it's in Wisconsin. I don't know, maybe it's another nearby city. So people freak out, like to the point where they were like, "Can you please take it off?" The whole plane's erupting as we're coming in. Says "Welcome to Cleveland." So yeah.
Oh, funny.
I probably don't. I won't claim responsibility if we do anything. Like that one we'll keep off the media and the podcast for sure.
Yeah. Funny. Yeah. So then, kind of touching on marketing and branding, there's so many roofs out there, commercial roofs, that are just flat and don't have much going on. So how can a roof design, whether it's a logo or an American flag, serve as a marketing or branding tool for a business?
So obviously near airports for sure is an easy target for being able to market your building. I don't see why there would be anything as far as, some cities have, code requirements for like how big of a sign you can put up and things like that. Not sure how that would play in, but I would think putting your company name near an airport, it serves as a billboard. If you're sitting on a window seat flying into a city, most people, are raising the windows looking out. So I think that serves barrel roofs. TPO, we put on a 6, 7, 12 pitch, depending on the application, or even steeper doing CMU walls or whatever. It could, you could almost put any, when you're talking the colored TPO and laying on top of a white or a tan, just like coating on the EPDM. So yeah, I think maybe it's something people just aren't offering or thinking about.
Yeah, definitely. Do, custom roof designs, do those improve a building's performance or durability by any way, or is it more just the aesthetic of it?
So it depends on how, I guess in certain areas when you're doing an overlay of say, red on top of a white, you are ending up, you have 2 layers of TPO there, right? You're fully adhering right on top of 60 mil to 60 mil. The flag is actually the roof. That's fully adhered to our cover board. So, what you see is the roof and the seams are the seams. So there's no real enhancements as far as thickness or durability on that aspect. Coating's probably much the same, where you're coating something, if it were EPDM, depending on where your seams are and things like that. But I think it's more, I'd say it's almost 99% is aesthetics and what you're getting from that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you noticing more custom roofs in the industry kind of overall? Or is it still kind of slow?
I'm not on our post. I haven't checked it in a while, but on the video and maybe the one you guys put, I've seen some, people have put other ones that were out there. I saw one in Destin, Florida. It's like at a marina. I don't know if it's metal or paint, but it's really cool. Big flag. But no, I'm actually looking for them obviously more when I'm flying in and out and flying to newer cities, that I haven't flown into. So I'm always peeking and seeing what's out there if I'm by the window, and you really don't see it. You are seeing, I would say, maybe more with shingle design that is kind of coming back, some of those Victorian type designs that you'll see, maybe different colors or styles on some of the more historical stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask if this is just a trend for kind of commercial roofing, or if residential can kind of take advantage of custom design work for their roof as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can't remember where it was. It might not even been in this country. There was a custom copper one where it was like diamonds, then scallops, and it was all copper. And that was pretty, there was, three or 4 rows of each. That was an art piece. We actually, ironically, we've done some designs. I think we designed a VFW to put the VFW in a different color shingle. And you can kind of see, as the shingles obviously have to stagger, you're not going to get those straight lines like you would with TPO laid over. But we do have a historical home that was going to go all slate and had a few rows of scallop slate and then the rectangle. So we're looking at doing that with some designer shingles. So that one would be a pretty cool one. It's in Historical Society actually owns that one. So
okay.
So that one, but that'll be all asphalt and on a steep. But yeah, probably not utilized near enough. I think probably, yeah. It's hard, in my opinion. It's hard. You're already asking for, say, a commercial roof. Say you're looking for, you're presenting a $200,000 bid. It's hard to say, hey, let's add 40 grand, 50 grand to this bid and put some marketing or something that's going to help you stand out. But whether or not that's the roofers, the building owners, I think it's an option that people probably just don't think or don't present.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that actually goes into my next question of what kind of budget should, maybe a building owner or even a homeowner, if they're looking for a personalized roof, kind of add on to their initial maybe estimate?
I would say on a membrane, like a big flag roof, I could speak to because I kind of have them. That's a pretty, the colored membranes, just like anything, whether it's vinyl siding, TPO, you're getting the dark premium colors. It's hard to get in small amounts. So Depending on material availability. I mean, I'd say you're adding probably 15% to the project for something like the flag, because you also have, you're not just going to run and gun, laying TPO out and have people laying out multiple rows, and the things that you can do. So it's certainly going to slow you down in the process. And if you're like me, you're going to have all your best of the best on there. I mean, I'm not going to leave room for error. I want the other guys to learn. So I kind of use those as somewhat a training and make sure that our the most qualified guys are going to be on site. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm just curious too, if someone wasn't, ready for a re-roof and, they just had their regular roof but wanted to customize it, is that something that can be added on top of their existing roof, or is that pretty frowned upon because that's just adding layers to your roof?
No, absolutely. I mean, depending on, if you're talking like, especially on the flat roof on membranes, if you want to put something that, hey, it's just a big white wall or a tan or gray, just a standard color membrane, and you want to put something on there, absolutely. I mean, that could be, most of them, I shouldn't speak for all, but most of them should be able to be cleaned properly and then installed over top, just to get to get whatever you're trying to achieve as far as marketing or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. They don't have to wait for a re-roof to make it their own. Awesome. Well, any other advice that you would give to business owners or homeowners who might be considering a personalized roof in their future?
Well, if you're like, I would say, as you can see, I'm not quite under the flag. I think it starts at the wall right behind me, to the edge. This is my warehouse behind me. I always do trial on my own. I'm usually going to, do some type of a trial, but so I wouldn't say go out and offer everybody, American flag roofs or putting their name of their business on the side of a roof that is visible. But at the same time, familiarize, figure it out, and I mean, that's kind of what we have done. We drew up a plan. We kind of attacked it. Now I'm comfortable saying, hey, if you want a flag on your roof, I kind of know exactly what it's going to take, the extras it's going to, who's going to design it, because believe it or not, I still tried to make sure it met the scale, of I know it's laying down and there's all kinds of comments, telling me what's right and wrong with a flag, but that is not an actual flag. It's an image of a flag that's going to be visible for years. And, but I think just familiarizing yourself with it. And if you're not growing, you're dying. That's one of our core values. We're always trying to find, the next invention, the next, technology. So we're always trying to, make sure that we have every tool in our bag. And now we can confidently go out and offer, designs or something like that on your TPO roof. And we kind of know what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah, that's great. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing about your project. I'm going to have to go look up that video now and see it for myself. Yeah. And thank you everyone for listening.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you. And, consider customizing your roof in the future and see what marketing it might bring you for all those people flying above it. So thank you.
Until you ask, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim, again. And we will catch you all on the next episode.
If your roof needs answers, subscribe now to the AskARoofer Podcast. We've got your questions covered, one episode at a time. Go to AskARoofer.com to submit your questions and learn more. Stay tuned and keep those questions coming.